Right, Ilia Topuria just knocked out Charles Oliveira. I just saw it, and before I go and watch any breakdowns from the Weasel MMA or anything like that, because I love watching his stuff, I'm just going to give it a little go at conveying some of the stuff that I saw, because I think it's phenomenal. Obviously, first round KO in the last minute of the round, if I can recall that correctly. Really solid stuff. Also, if I recall correctly, I don't believe that Oliveira has ever been knocked out cold like that. Like, he's been stopped by, Paul Felder and by like Max Holloway and that, but they weren't like out cold. Like, he was one of those ones, and much respect to both of them. I think it was a phenomenal performance. Really cool to see. So the main thing that I could see, starting from the knockout sequence and working backwards, was Ilia Topuria doing a lot of these, I'm going to stand southpaw for it, a lot of these whipping style jabs where he actually led with the shoulder first, which isn't typical for him. Normally the hands are a bit more here and the jab is stiffer, boom, straight out there. But what I could see was this tendency to go whip with the shoulder, boom. So that was a body one. He would go like, especially the finishing sequence, he went body to the face, and then what he did was he actually whipped it, but he faked it. Like, he didn't throw that second that third jab to the head. He went boom, and that jab set up the short right hand overhandish kind of motion, packing so much power behind it because he kind of cocked himself forward with the momentum of doing that without actually throwing this. And then boom. And the reaction that he was getting out of Oliveira, from what I could tell, I'm going to take my pants off whilst doing this because I'm getting warm. But the reaction that he was getting out of Oliveira, from what I could tell, was every time he threw the whipping jab, even to the body, Oliveira was covering up and squaring up slightly. So the two reactions Oliveira had were, one was he would go from here slightly bladed on the side, but then when the jab would come, he'd square up and cover up this way. So obviously that faking the whip into throwing a short right hand would really help to split the guard potentially if this was the reaction. But then there was also the reaction that Oliveira was throwing at the same time. He would go boom, and then second shot in, he would go throw his own jab cross. It was a very earnest jab cross. As we know, Oliveira doesn't really move his head offline when he's throwing shots, so he is open to it. And then he did kind of tag Topuria with it in the first sequence, one of the first exchanges. He kind of goes down 1-2 at the same time as Topuria was going to throw that whipping jab into the short right hand. So when he was doing that the second time though, it was just because the timing, the distance was perfect for it. And I believe the setup was really solid for it, because as we know, Topuria also strikes in phases. So he will do this thing where he makes you think he's finished the engagement and then come back in really quickly. So he talks about this idea of when he does combos, and this wasn't necessarily a massive combo that he got him with, but he does like 1, 2, 3, for example, and then pauses for a half beat, and then 4, 5, 6, and he'll do like a 6-punch combination. But normally you're expecting after the 1, 2, 3, most guys kind of boom, okay, I've defended, relax, and then right in that relaxation is when you come in for the second half of the sequence. Now, I believe what he was doing with that was whipping the jab, and then whipping the jab, and almost being like, okay, we're done. So it's like that idea of like whip jab, okay, relax a second, we're done with that exchange, and then it's like this thing that a lot of martial artists do, a lot of fighters do, is like your turn, my turn. So Oliveira, potentially, I don't know what's going on exactly in his head, but potentially there was this thought of, okay, your turn, done, my turn, boom, boom. And then Topuria was intercepting that Charles Oliveira's turn. And actually, that's what made the punch so powerful. It was like such a short right hand, is the fact that Oliveira was coming in at the same time with his right hand. So my old Muay Thai coach used to call those intercepting counters. So instead of going make them miss and then counter, so it's like the shots missing, falling short, like a pull counter kind of thing, you're actually throwing at the same time as them, and their shot's missing you, but your shot's hitting them. So you've got all this momentum of them coming in, but the benefit of them missing you, and all of their momentum coming in to amplify the strength or the power behind your shot. So instead of you having to hit as hard, because they're coming towards you as well, that power really gets amplified. So that was it. Main thing that I think that you kind of saw that from the first sequence, and then that was the finishing sequence as well. As well as that, man, how good was that grappling? Like, the takedown defense was phenomenal. Obviously, Oliveira, it was almost like he did the DDP and pulled Topuria into guard. Obviously not actually what he was doing, but just the way Topuria kept his balance with it. I didn't watch the takedown sequence too heavily, but I know that he landed in guard, really solid. And who passes Charles Oliveira's guard like that, bro? He literally started to posture up slightly, grab the ankle, and just straight to side control. Obviously going for some of that mounted crucifix type position as well. Bro, who does that to Oliveira? Just like the strength, but as well as that, the timing and the technique, I think. Comes down way more to that, because I think there was a little bit of a play where Oliveira does like to, again, get the feet on the hips, push back a bit, give him some of that space for the guard, depending on if that's what we're doing, if that's what he wants the opponent to do. So there was almost a sense of, if I'm reading this bit right, of letting Oliveira kind of get his feet towards the hips, which is what you do. You know, you create your spaces, you create your frames, or you wrap guard up, that kind of thing. So as Topuria is coming up, he's getting, obviously he's down towards the knees, but the feet are going towards the hips, so he grabs the ankle and lets it kind of fly by him, slides straight into side control. It was so smooth, I missed it at first. I was like, bro, who passes Oliveira's guard like that easily? Even Makhachev, when he finished Oliveira, he went into his guard to set up the head-arm choke and then jumped across. Nuts, bro. So those are my thoughts. Let me know what you guys think. I absolutely love this sport and MMA. It's so good to see cool stuff like this. And another thing that I think was really cool was the celebrating beforehand. Topuria talks like someone who does a lot of visualization beforehand, and he knows that he's got it. And one of the things that we love about him is the fact that he calls his shot before he does it. Everyone's like, oh, he's setting himself up to look really bad. He's celebrating the night before as if he's won. Because in his mind, I can see he's won. And he was saying it afterwards as well, was this, I'd already won. Like, how does it feel? Even better, because I'd already done this and I was just coming in to collect the belt, really, because it had already happened. And when you can see it here and you have the confidence enough to speak it, it will be so. Your brain doesn't know the difference between imagination and reality. So when you do something like that and you've done it, he talked about, he knows his work ethic, he knows what he's done in the training room, he's just going in there to collect it. And that is a beautiful thing to be able to witness. He's really, really switched on physically as an athlete and also mentally. So it's everything coming together. My main takeaway physically that I just wanted to go over again was just that slight whipping element to his jab. Because he doesn't only do a whipping jab, but I think that was a cool thing to see. I just looked a bit odd when I first saw it. I was like, oh, okay, he's really leading with his shoulder because his boxing is really good. And normally you'd be like, okay, you shouldn't do that because that normally gives people a tell. But if you want your opponent to gauge that reaction, to react to that, so that you can set up something off of the fake whip of the jab with the shoulder, I think it's beautiful work. Let me know what you guys think. Yeah, this is all the art of being man. Embody that and it'll be all gravy, baby. Let's go!